Welcome back to the 23rd episode of the Head versus Heart podcast. The Head because I look at rugby league betting and Supercoach from an analytical perspective, joined by the Heart because he looks at both of those from an emotional perspective. We
As
have a
always.
special guest today. We have the Feet joining us. Do you want to just explain why you called the Feet?
Hey guys, thanks for having me on. When you asked me to come up with a body part today, I had a long, hard think about it, and I was thinking in the NRL, who links up with that? And I thought Brendan Hands, but why not Brendan Feet? Because that guy knocks the ball on more than anyone else.
Well, then wouldn't he be Brendan Hands because he knocks it on with his hands?
I
Or
think he
like
has
Brendan
big
lack of
hands.
hands? Well, all I'm saying is
Great
I
stuff.
think feet is dangerously close to the toe we had on last week.
No, I rate the Feet. I rate the Feet. And you're a big fan of Feet anyway, isn't that right? Or
No, I'm no Katoni Stags, mate.
yeah, right, right. Moving on from that. First things first, let's jump into accountability from last week. How'd you go yourself there?
Yeah, so I actually had a pretty good week for once. I'm 2 for 8 and I'm up $20. So not too bad. Could be better, but as always, if you're up, you're up. How
When's
about
the
yourself?
last time when's the last time you had a winning week, mate?
I don't know. I'm not going to look into it too much.
Yeah, I don't know what's a bigger feat. You're 2 from 8, two up 20. I went 4 from 5, up $441.50 last week. But yeah, you're $20 up, probably the more impressive there.
I mean, it kind of is given my betting history, to be honest.
Yeah, nice, good stuff. Let's quickly rip into each game from last round. Touch on some of the scores from last round and how we saw it. The first game of the round was obviously that Panthers Storm game, and the Storm got home in the end. Did you have a bet in that one there, Hart?
Yeah, so I thought there'd be a lot more tries on the outside than there was. I had Anderson, I basically had the back three to score for the Storm. Neither did, unfortunately, but you win some, you lose some, don't they say?
Yeah, tough there, mate. I had the Storm line in that one, so 1 from 1 after one.
What was the
Uh,
line there? Like, were they the outsiders in that game?
yeah, of course, mate,
Oh,
against
lucky.
Penrith, yes,
Easy winners, mate.
yeah. Um, the next game of the round was the Seagulls Warriors game. Seagulls ended up winning 24-10. So my line of 14 and a half, 15 and a half just snuck home there. So stoked to
Cheeky.
get up on that one. But what did you have?
That is super cheeky there because I won with the exact opposite bet. I had mainly 13 plus with Saab and Turbo to score. Don't you just love that?
Elite stuff from you, mate.
Absolutely elite. Like somehow
If,
we both found a common denominator there and we won.
yeah,
That
yeah,
is
you just
the
knew that
best
it
bet
would
of
be.
the best bets of the round.
You just knew it would be exactly 13 plus, eh?
Yeah, exactly.
Smart man, smart man. The next game of the round was the Roosters Eels game. The Roosters ended up winning pretty comfortably, 38-14. What did you have in that one?
Yeah, look, I had the Roosters by a line of minus 19 and a half. I then also had Dom Young to score with Angus Crichton. What's happened with Gussie? He hasn't looked like scoring in the past like maybe 2 months. Like
Yeah,
he's lost his attacking edge.
yeah. So probably due then. Probably scores
He
this
is
week, I reckon.
incredibly due. I might have to put money on him next week, to be honest.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
so
nice,
good.
nice. Yeah, good stuff, good stuff.
Yeah, so
Um,
have it yourself.
yeah, I didn't have a bet on the game. I guess kind of what you expect. The Roosters winning pretty comfortably there. The next game of the round was the Bulldogs versus the Dolphins. The Bulldogs keeping the winning streak going,
What
winning
a huge win by them.
yeah
30 to
30 to
10. Can you
10, pretty
believe
big
that?
win. What did you have in that one, sir?
Yeah, so I had the Dogs at a line of negative 4.5 with Cherry to score at any time. That did luckily get up, but I wish I'd got on a wider line than that. I did not see that coming. I did not see that line at all. I knew they'd
Mm,
win, but I didn't think they'd win by that much.
yeah, you you said you would thought they win by like 80 or 6 or 8 exactly, and then
Yeah, win by 20.
yeah. I had the Dolphins 1 to 12 in this one, just to sort of try to jam a little bit of more value out of this game. Obviously, a Dolphins team that's right in and around that 8. Thought they'd have a lot more to play
Loser.
for. The one game you got a bet and I didn't.
Loser.
Yeah, so didn't win on that one. The next game around was the Cowboys Raiders. Cowboys ended up winning 42-4. Very comfortable win in the end. Probably a game Should have jumped on the Cowboys, but didn't. But yeah, didn't have a bet on this one. What did you have?
I had Raiders head-to-head. Let's move on.
Nice, good stuff. The next game of the round was the Tigers versus the Rabbitohs. The Tigers at +6.5. Pretty stoked to get up on that one, especially I put that bet on before Buller was ruled out in this game.
Yeah, it's not too bad bet actually. I'll give you that
Yeah,
one.
it was stressing, but yeah, pretty happy to have gotten up on that one. But what did you have?
Yeah, look, I thought there'd be way more points in this game than there was. It was, even though it was really dry, actually, the ball handling in both teams was absolutely awful. So yeah, I had the Bunnies with Myers 10+ points. As it turns out, Fletcher Myers was not goal kicking, and that bet was completely dead the moment. I believe it was who kicked for them? No, so Myers kicked. Never mind.
You also wrote that Appy was goal
Oh,
kicker.
sorry, no, Appy, other way around. So I thought Appy was going to be the goal kicker, but turns out he wasn't. So I got screwed on that side.
Really good stuff.
Yeah, so Myers did kick, but no, there was not enough points in it.
Nice, good stuff. Yeah, no, and then the next game of the round, sorry, was the Dragons versus the Titans. I had the Dragons 1-24, and that finished off my 4 out of 5 for the week. So pretty happy with that result there. I guess, yeah, the Dragons team you sort of probably expect to win that one when they're sort of had a few losses pushing for the 8th position. But yeah, what about yourself?
I had the Gold Coast Titans to win by 13 points with AKP anytime. Let's move on.
Good
Actually,
stuff.
out of respect, can we just skip the next game, please?
Yeah, the next game was fucked.
Yeah, let's not speak about it. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, I have nothing to say. Can't believe we lost that game. Anyway, yeah, that's the end of the round. Yeah, might still make the finals though, so we're all good.
Yeah, we'll win. We'll be fine.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about side bets. Hopefully, you do a punishment at some point for your side bets, but
I told you we're going to do the 6, 12, 18, 24 challenge, and I'll make a side bet with you, $20, or you do the 6, 12, 18, 24 challenge with me.
You tried to bet me $10 the other week. It's not worth $10, and it's not worth $20.
Why not? It could be a bonding experience.
Mate, Feet, do you know what have you heard of this 6, 12, 18, 24?
Is that the one where it's like you run 6Ks, 12 beers and all that?
Yeah.
18 donuts, 24 wanks. Your choice.
Whichever combination of those.
And what, Hart, you're on it right now?
He has to do it.
I have to do it at some point.
Yeah, he lost 2 rounds of side bets. But he's trying to like get me to do it with him, and he's offering like, oh, we'll bet on head to head. We'll both bet on head to head in this game, and then like if I win, I get $20, and if he wins, I have to do this thing. I'm like, it's just not worth it.
He's the biggest coward, I swear. He's not willing to do it.
Maybe if you lose it, you have to do like the pancake challenge or burger challenge where you're in there for 24 hours, and for every one you eat, you get an hour off. So not as bad as Hart's one, but still a punishment.
No, it's not as fun if we aren't doing the same thing, though.
That's true, but I feel like you shouldn't do the same thing because Head has a head on him.
Yeah, that's true. But he just wants me to do this, and he's just trying to say, you know, it's worth $10, $20.
It is worth $20, actually. It could be a good bonding experience, mate.
True. Let's move on from cyber. So sort Supercoach ranks for myself went up another 800. I was hoping to be inside the 10K well before now, but 10,873. So hopefully at least by the end of the season in the top 10K there. But yeah, not quite the season I wanted to have, but hopefully I've still got 2 trades there. So might still go okay with a 1394 total. Do you want to touch on your rank at all, Hart? Or are we just moving on?
Move on, please.
And then the feet, obviously. I guess we can talk a little bit as to why you've been brought on, especially this week. So we've got the top 4 in our head-to-head finals. We're on opposite sides of the draw, so if we were to both win, we would be facing each other in our head-to-head finals. But yeah, talk to your rank and what you scored last week.
So for round 24 last week, I scored 1430, so pretty good score there. Had Karaz and Young doing the heavy lifting along with Teddy captain. Currently I'm ranked 2,114th overall, so just outside the top 2K. I do only have one trade left though, so I think it might be out of reach as people start to mow me down from behind.
Yeah, I mean, pretty good rank, and you'll probably finish at a pretty solid rank regardless.
I'm fairly certain at minimum you're 35 times higher than I am.
There's always
Oh,
next season.
yeah.
Always next year. It's funny because it's like my best performance in years.
Yeah, no, just deliberately have a bad rank so that next year tank your rank so that next year you can be like, oh look, I went up 50,000 points. Oh, but yeah, no, obviously 2000 is a really killer rank. I think if you're in top 1000, you get something. Top 1011, it has been in previous years.
Why
Yeah,
1011? Why a specific number like that?
Because top 10 or 11 get, I think top 10 or 11 get prizes already.
Oh,
And
okay.
the next 1000 they give stuff.
yeah, I'm not sure what it is this year, but I know in the past they've done things like key rings and all that. So
Yeah.
probably out of reach for me this year, but hopefully next.
Not impossible, I guess.
What did you get, Head? Did you get like a water bottle or something?
Yeah, when I came 78th a few years ago, I got a water bottle, socks, and a KFC voucher. So
Yeah, rate that.
little flex my rank there, but let's jump on from Supercoach for now. We'll talk best bets of the week. Everyone's favorite segment for the week. The head heart bet is now the head heart and feet bet of the week. So we've got a 3-legger. We'll have the best odds on the screen. I'm not sure what they are right now, but I guess we can let the feet take it away with what that bet is. Yeah, do you want to just read out what we've got for this week?
Yeah, so when you asked me my best bet and coming on as a guest, being a Tigers supporter has been grim, but I did want to lean that way with my selection. So I've decided to go for Samuel Afanu as anytime try scorer.
Sorry, I was just saying the head, heart, and feet bet first, but we can get into your betting.
Yeah, so
Oh,
yeah. So name your leg in the head, heart, and feet bet.
Yeah.
oh, apologies, wrong way around.
Yeah.
For this one, I've actually gone similar odds actually, but I've gone for Ben Hunt.
Any
Nice.
reason as to why?
I think he's due. It's a derby
Fair enough.
game, last game of the round, and they got Trindle back the Sharks, but I actually don't think that's the best for them. So I can see Ben Hunt just going himself and trying to get Dragons locked in that top 8.
Yep. Nice.
Respectable.
What about your leg for this one, Hart?
Yeah, so I think the Magic Man's going to do it back to back. I bet on him last week to score, and he finally did it. So my bet for this week in the Head, Heart, and Feet podcast is Kai Pearce-Paul to go over as well.
Terrible bet.
I told you he was due when he scored last week, and he's still due. On average, he should be scoring again.
My leg of the bet is either team 1 to 10 in the St. George Cronulla game.
Mate, that is cowardly.
I'll talk more about why I like that bet when we get into that game. But yeah, that rounds out the head, heart, and feet bet of the week. Sorry, I'll let you talk about your bet of the round now. Feet. You were talking to Samuel Afanu.
Yeah, I've gone Fanu being a Tigers fan. I just think he's running at Cherry Evans, who does have a tendency to jump out of the line. And with the way Galvin's been playing like all season, but even the last few weeks especially, I can just see him running at the line, engaging DCE, and then Fanu being put over because they do have a good combo at the moment.
Yeah, super coach question. Would you be playing him? I've got a Tarpany AFB front row. Should I play Finu or maybe over a different player in my team?
I wouldn't be playing him over Tarpany or Fanua Blake.
Yeah.
But if you could do a lot worse than play Fanu this week as your 17th man kind of thing. It would depend on your other options.
Yeah, I think my team's still reasonably strong that I won't need to do that. And I can talk to that in my trades, but I'll talk to my best bet of the round firstly. My best bet of the round is the Dolphins plus 14.5. They come up against a Storm team that, didn't actually look that good last week, even though they did get a win against the Panthers. Panthers team with Cleary going down there. I fancy probably wins. Sorry if Cleary doesn't go down there. But the Storm ended up winning, and a lot of what people read into it betting wise is what actually happened on paper. So I think people will be higher on the Storm than they are necessarily going. And it's also a Dolphins team that are currently sitting in 9th, I believe, 8th or 9th. They would be 9th because the Dragons jumped into 8th. So yeah, very, very desperate to make finals. So they'll bare minimum, I think, keep this one close against the Storm team that while they have the minor premiership to play for, they might not be as desperate. So really like the Dolphins plus 14.5 in this one. And then the heart, what's your best bet for the round?
Yeah, look, the way I see it, Newcastle season's over, so I think this is when we start trying again. I've got the Knights 13 plus with Ponga anytime try scorer. Sadly, that's my bet for this one.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. You think the season's over, so we start trying.
I mean, that's what always happens though. Like when the teams know that there's no real chance of them getting in, except maybe a mathematical possibility, that's when the teams try again.
That just makes no sense.
Okay, so how many wins do the Tigers get towards the last 5 rounds of the season in the past 2 years?
Not last 5, barely any, but they pick some up like in that sort of.
I swear they won like round 26, round 27.
Nah, maybe. But I swear they always pick them up in like round 20 sort of time.
I do like them. I still like this bet though, because I do think that Knights will chuck the footy around a bit more. So that's naturally going to bring Ponga into the play.
Yeah, true. Exactly.
I like the bet. I like the bet kind of because like it's a South team without Cody Walker. A South team that has been playing amazing. Like, you could make arguments for the Knights in this one, and still we're a chance to make the final. If we win out, we'll go very close to making the finals. Still, we need like 1 or 2 other results to go our way.
We need to win 2 games. We need to win back 4 points and then win another one on top of that. So we need to
I've done the ladder predictors, mate. Don't worry. As a proud Knights fan,
I hate to say it, but our season's over. You can stop like kind of.
No, if we win out, then we probably need. I think it's like the Raiders or someone to beat the Dragons last round, and then probably just like all the results to go as sort of normal. Like we're a very decent.
It's not happening. It's just not happening.
It's probably not happening, but we're still a chance of making the finals. So I think, the Knights to win is not a bad bet necessarily.
Okay. Anyway, let's move on now. Let's go to the first game of the round, being the Tigers v the Eels.
Let's talk trades for the round firstly.
Oh, apologies. I completely forgot about that part. Given on Supercoach.
Probably a pretty pivotal part of the year to talk trades, especially with Cleary going down, and that sort of talks to my trade. Is Cleary to DCE, Daly Cherry Evans. If you want to jump that trade, I probably would do it this week. DCE in particular is because they've got the Tigers this week. A Tigers backline that have had a few players go down as well. So big fan of DC this week in particular. If you're trying to move Cleary off next week, it might be a different story. I definitely don't mind waiting a week on Cleary because there's a lot of conjecture around what teams are going to rest players and stuff like that. There's a lot of talk that apparently a lot of the Roosters boys are going to rest their players next week. A lot of the Storm boys are going to be rested next week as well. And so that would take your Sam Walkers, Jerome Hughes is out of the conversation that are genuine options as well. But I feel like DC is pretty safe choice. I don't think you're making trades in this one, Hart, but Feet, how do you feel about what I said and sort of where you're moving with your trades moving forward?
Yeah, I totally agree with what you said. If I was going for the safe play, I would go Cherry Evans because Tigers this week, logical matchup. And then also, I don't see Manly resting any players because they're really trying to push for that top 4. If I was looking to go for someone a bit more outside the box, this season I've been really trying to back talent with my trades. And since he signed for the Tigers, Luai's the man, and I think he's going to be really good for us next season. But in all seriousness, his average without Cleary has actually been really strong. The only concern is that resting, which has been spoken about for round 26 or 27 for the Panthers players. But if I knew he was going to play all 3 games, I'd probably lean that way.
Yeah, makes sense. I think a lot of the reason that I do lean DC and maybe others would lean DC is probably that reason that you've got a little bit more security around the game time.
Yeah, definitely. But for me as well, I've only got 1 trade left and I do own Cleary. Whether I decide to just not make that trade this week and save it for another week could be an option just based off matchups and everything, and whether I want to push this week with Cherry Evans and then just ride it out for the season. So on the fence right now, if I do trade, it'll probably be Cleary for DCE, but we'll have to see late in the week.
Yeah, no, I can really get around holding that trade though. especially I think the Tigers have the bye next week. So for mine, it'll be I have Harry Grant and Appy as my hookers, and like I won't have a hooker next week, for example, probably. I've got 2 trades left, so I can probably still go the clear at DCE this week. But yeah,
One thing to consider though is there's only one halfback who's actually scored over 53 points at Leichhardt Oval in a night game in the last 2 years.
How?
So yeah, just had that little fun fact slide across my desk. So something to consider with Cherry Evans playing a night game against the Tigers side at Leichhardt Oval. So
that is
if you
that
back
is
the stats, could be a good one to avoid while everyone goes to him.
I would be interested to know how many night games have been played at Leichhardt as well, because I feel like Leichhardt gets a lot of those, like Sunday Arvo type of games. So I don't know how many night games they've actually had there, but yes, definitely a worthy stat to think about.
Definitely.
Speaking of Leichhardt, let's just jump into the first game of the round. Supercoach wise, we've talked to DCE, but a man that's always going to come up is Tommy Trbojevic. Do you have any thoughts on Tommy T? Would you be captaining Tommy T this week? Would you be trying to trade him in if you have the trades? What's your position on Tom Trbojevic?
Quite a tough one actually, because I like all trades. It probably depends on your team. So for me personally, I've already got Teddy and Ponga, and I feel like if I had to have one of them, Turbo would be the one. But in saying that, Teddy and Ponga's matchups this week are still pretty good in my opinion. So if I was going to look to gain more of an advantage elsewhere, I'd look to trade in another position.
Yeah. No, I'm with you for sure. I think Teddy and Ponga are the two. Like if you look across the 3 games, I mean, depending on whether Teddy's going to be rested for next week, which is probably a strong chance that he is. But yeah. Ponga, I think, is a definite one you want across the 3 games, considering the strength of our fixtures. But yeah, in this particular game, Tommy T's particular game week, Tommy T is probably one of the 2 that you want, just because the Tigers matchup is such a good one there. Probably, obviously, VC Tommy T in this one.
Yeah, agree on the VC, unless you're that confident in him and you have some auto nightmares. But probably just VC first game of the round.
Yeah. I might even myself, if I do bring in DCE, VC him. I think him throwing the ball to an Olakau'atu could be dangerous areas, especially an Olakau'atu that hasn't scored recently. Very due for a big one, I think. That'll be probably a game.
I agree with you there. We saw last week the way Kaloa Matangi just strolled in down that same edge. So it's shaping up for a good one for Olakau'atu.
Yeah, 100%. But in terms of trades, what's that?
Fuck, never mind. Let's try to say Homole. Holy Homole. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, good chat.
Never mind. Ignore me, please.
Yeah. But in terms of Supercoach, obviously a lot of people going to DCE. I think he's probably the best option for this week. Outside of that, I think your best option is to hold and wait to see what happens next week. Not too much else to touch on really in this game, Supercoach wise. No massive trade-ins outside of the ones we've already mentioned.
How was Aiden Caesar playing? I swear he'd be suspended from last week.
Who's this?
Aiden Caesar.
Is he not playing?
No, he's been named at 7, but he should have been suspended for like 2 weeks for what he did.
Yeah, I mean,
he's been suspended enough this season. Let him off.
Let the boys play. I think with the Tigers at this point, they're just like, let the boys play.
Yeah, who cares at this point? They've almost locked it in. May as well.
Yeah.
Well, they've robbed Galvin of his Rookie of the Year award, so just let the boys play in general.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
So if the Tigers lose this, so you've got 2 points, so you can kind of make it back. So you've got 3 games left in the season.
You're looking at Spoon.
The next 2, then
We've got a bye coming up, so I think we're relying on that. And then round 27, we verse the Eels themselves in the Spoon Bowl. So you'll find me at Campbelltown that day.
Yeah, that'll be huge. But let's talk betting in this one. Obviously, the only team that's in the 8 there, Tigers team that's, like we said, in and around the Spoon. So what's betting looking like for yourself, Part?
I think we should start with Feet, to be honest. I think Feet has the better bet so far, so he can start.
Yeah, okay, go on.
Look, as much as I want to tip Tigers, I do want to have some accountability. So, despite everything at Leichhardt Oval and that, I've tipped Manly to win. However, being at Leichhardt Oval, I don't see it being a blowout. So even then, I've given Tigers a handicap of plus 24.5. And then I picked one try scorer and I've gone Saab. Just last week, they were leaking down that edge, the Tigers. We saw Kalol Matangi stroll through. Gagai had a couple opportunities and all that. So I can just see Saab strolling over. So Manly, Tigers plus 24.5 and Saab.
Nice. Good bet.
Fair enough. Yeah, so look, I saw your bet when you put that in there, and I thought to myself, there's no way the Tigers hold me here. So I instead went at Manly at a line of negative 24.5 with Saab and Turbo to score. That is together 575, and I think it's going to get up.
That's shit odds for a negative 24.5 line and 2
They're playing
tries.
the Tigers, mate. What do you expect?
That's terrible.
Sorry, Pete, but it is the truth.
At least one of us should get up.
Yeah.
One of them will.
I don't know about in this one. A Seagulls team that obviously in and around the 8 pushing for that top 4. Probably won't get the top 4, but
I'm genuinely mad that Luke Brooks has now been confirmed to play finals. Like, I'm actually upset about that.
yeah. I mean, actually, I couldn't care less. But no, yeah, a Manly team that probably should win well. But a 14.5 line's too big for mine. Like you said, a Thursday night game at Leichhardt. Probably not keen to bet against the Tigers. Let's jump into the next game. The Warriors versus the Bulldogs. Obviously, Warriors home game. I think it's the Warriors' last home game of the season, so it would be SJ's last home game of the season. I don't know if that has any.
You see what they're doing for him though? Like Mount Smart Stadium will officially be named Shaun Johnson Stadium for this one game.
Yeah, I think I did see that actually. Yeah. So I don't know if that has any significance on Supercoach or betting, but we can sort of talk to that a little bit when we get into probably betting is more relevant. But Supercoach wise, do you have any players in this one, Dilly, that sort of? Oh, actually, yeah, there's probably one bloke that we can talk about. Jacob Carraz, you're an owner, correct?
Yes, Carraz. He's been one of my most solid players all season, actually.
Yeah, I'm a bit frustrated. I haven't really had the opportunity to own him. He's probably the one of the only big scores last week that I missed out on. Would you be recommending people to trade him in at 739K at this point of the season?
Good question. 739 is a lot, and he's probably hard to get. However, if I look at his draw for the remainder of the season, Warriors in New Zealand, I think that's a toughish match just with the Shaun Johnson Stadium. Like, I do think Warriors will get up for the game, which is a bit of the thought process behind my later bet.
Yeah.
And then they've got Manly and Cowboys, both at a core stadium. So those could be some all right matchups. But again, those are going to be some tightly contested games just because Bulldogs are in and around Manly and Cowboys on the ladder. So there'll be a lot riding on those games.
Yeah. None of those games are the sort of one where it's either of those teams are going to give up in. Like it's
exactly. So I'll probably look to target elsewhere at this point. But in saying that, happy to own at the minute.
Yeah. Fair enough. I'd have to agree with you in there's better probably options you can target this week, but he's had some massive scores recently. So I guess I'm just hoping he doesn't continue having massive scores as a non-owner. A few people looking at trading in Matty Burton. Are you a fan of that one? Obviously, same fixtures as Carraz there, and he hasn't really been absolutely setting the world on fire. Just been very solid, scoring 60, 70 odds.
That's exactly what I was going to say, because in one of my draft comps, I have Matt Burton, and he's been great to have there, where he's just been solid all season. You know what you're going to get out of him. However, with only three or so rounds to go, you really want to chase that upside and go for those guys that can win you your head-to-heads. Come from behind, win your overall total points even as well. So Burton's been solid, but again, with those fixtures, I'd probably look to chase someone with more upside.
Yeah. And then these Warriors boys, anyone that interests you, this like pretty much every week it's those front row forwards that always come into contention, Fanua Blake and Mitchie Barnett. Either of them interest you at this point of the season?
Not at this point of the season. Warriors have a bye. Last game of the round, round 27. So if you're playing head to head only and you want them for this week and next, makes a bit more sense. But round 27, they're going to be on the bye, so I wouldn't trade them in.
Yeah, both very solid options. I'd probably expect them both to go decently this week. But yeah, like you said, if you're playing overall, neither of them, or pretty much no Warriors boys can be options. Yeah, not too much else Supercoach wise in this one. Let's jump into betting. I didn't have a bet last game, so I'll talk to mine first. I think we've got a similar bet in this one here, feet. But yeah, my bet's either team 1 to 12. You can get that on Bet365 at $1.80. Probably some of your thinking is pretty similar, but yeah, firstly, obviously the Warriors are outsiders, so I've got to speak to why I like them. Our Warriors team back in New Zealand for SJ's last home game of the season. It's a Warriors team off a loss, a Bulldogs team off a win. Traditionally, you want to try and take a team off a loss because they're more motivated to win. Then psychologically anyway, than the team that's off a win. And yeah, so all the information points towards the Warriors line being the one you want to take, but I'm not super keen on taking the line when I can take another team 1 to 12. The Bulldogs have been way too defensively strong this year to let a team win by more than 12 against them, I think. So had to give myself those extra 6 points with the Warriors for the same sort of price there. I don't know if I've stolen some of what you're going to say there, but I'll let you jump into it, Feet. What you're thinking?
No, I definitely agree. Everything you said with the 1 to 12 part, I do think this is going to be a tough game up the middle. Tends to be very wet in New Zealand. So, and then for a try scorer, he's in my Supercoach team. I like AFB. And the reason behind that is it's actually his last game in New Zealand as well, similar to SJ before he moves on to the Sharks. So I think he'll be up to it. And as good as the Bulldogs defense has been, they are quite small, some of their guys. So I can see him just going straight over the top of them.
Makes sense. And then the heart to finish it off.
Yeah, look, this is in New Zealand. It is Shaun Johnson's last game at Shaun Johnson Stadium. I think he's going to score and the Wires will win. Look, I generally think it's going to be one of those games where if a single forward goes over the line, they will pass it to Shaun Johnson. So I think that's how this game's going to end.
Yeah, you think a little like when AJ was going for the try scoring record the other season, and then
what was that? Like it was 2022, I think it was, where Alex Johnson, I think the center, it's like almost scored, but he said, screw it, I'll pass it to AJ so he can screw over Kyle Felt, who scored 3 tries in the final round.
Yeah. Similar sort of thing, just someone crashes over and then passes to SJ over the line.
I genuinely think it's going to happen. I'm willing to do like a side bet here where, $5 that happens.
I'll just shout you a beer if that exact happens, like someone goes over the line and then passes to SJ, I'll just buy you a beer.
Cheers, brother.
Yeah, nice. But we're all sort of thinking a little bit similar in terms of the Wires getting up for that one. But let's talk the next game of the round, the Broncos versus the Eels. It's a Broncos home game at Suncorp Stadium. Broncos team missing their fullback in Reece Walsh. Anyone who decided to go Reece Walsh over some of the other options would be kicking themselves right now. Obviously, he's going to be highly traded out, but in terms of players that you can trade in Supercoach, is there anyone that particularly stands out to you in either of these two teams, Feet?
Not for me. I think both these teams are very much checked out for the season, so I wouldn't be looking to go anyone there. The only one who may be of a bit of interest, who I got in a couple weeks ago, would be Carrigan.
Yeah.
I think that guy just, whenever he plays, there's no such thing as switching off. Like, he's always going to give 100%. And with those Broncos benches at the moment, he has to play big minutes. So he's done well the last couple of weeks. He's under 600K. So if you need someone who's at that more mid-tier price to fund another trade, I do like Carrigan in saying that.
Yeah. He's going to pump you like the 65, 70 odd pretty consistently every week. Doesn't have much attacking upside. But yeah, he's going to be a very consistent score. But yeah, I think for myself, like you said, you want to be chasing someone at this point of the season with only a couple of games to go with that higher upside. So can't get around Carrigan, but yeah, I agree with you. If there was someone in this game, it would be Carrigan. I'm looking at the round ownership change percentages, and yeah, the max traded in is 61 people have traded in Carrigan. So like a 0.0% change for anyone in this game, which does make sense considering probably both of these teams are out of contention for finals now. I guess the Broncos could still technically make it, but unlikely. Let's just jump straight into the betting in this one then. I think myself and the feet don't have a bet. For myself, it's a could be anything game. A Broncos team missing Reece Walsh, but back home off a bye. They'll be well rested, and then an Eels team with not much to play for, but a massive line in this one. It could go anyway. I'm not really keen to take either team in this one. Would you agree with me there, Feed?
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, I could see it being a high-scoring free-for-all, but in saying that, you don't know what either of these teams are going to throw up at the minute, so I'm just happy to avoid.
Yeah. But the Heart's not happy to avoid this one. What do you have in this one?
Yeah, look, the way I see it, I do kind of agree with you where I don't think this game's I don't really know how this game's going to go. I do think very much so that the Eels are overvalued at 329, given the turds of performances we've seen put out by the Broncos. With that in mind, I'm taking the Eels at the line with Sivo to score at $3.20. The way I see it, if the Eels get anywhere near the try line, Sivo's going to do what Sivo does and run from 10 meters out and score.
Yeah, nice. I think that bet either wins or it doesn't. So
yeah, 50-50 chance.
Yeah, best of luck to you. The next game of the round is the Raiders versus the Panthers, a home game for the Raiders this one. So I expect a cold fixture. Obviously, the number one talking point out of this game is Nathan Cleary being out. We've sort of talked to a little bit of what we'd be doing with Cleary. Any other sort of thoughts you have on Cleary there? The feet in terms of holding, moving off, any other opinion at all?
If I had 3+ trades, I'd definitely move Cleary in a heartbeat this week. But if you've got 2 or 1 like myself, it does make sense, depending on your team's head-to-head situation and everything, to potentially hold it and get more benefit out of that last trade in the coming weeks.
Yeah.
I also touched on a bit earlier with Luai. I think he could be the ultimate pod play to win your semi-final, grand final. It's just that worry with the resting. The other one would be Dylan Edwards, who averages 100+ with Cleary out of the side. But in saying that, he's just coming back from injuries, so maybe he's a bit underdone still.
In terms of moving off Cleary, I'm with you there. 3 trades, I'd probably be moving off him. It also, on top of that, I think depends a lot on what you're playing for at this point of the season. I haven't given up on, but I don't care as much about my total Supercoach overall rank. I'm sort of pretty focused on head-to-head, considering I'm still in our comps head-to-head finals. So I kind of want to win this week, or make sure that I win this week. And I think bringing in DCE will help me with that. And obviously DCE probably will play next week, or almost definitely will play next week. So there's not much risk in making that move this week for mine. And I've got 2 trades. 1 trade, I'm probably with you. I probably wouldn't make the trade. But yeah, I think it depends exactly what you're playing for. And then sort of in terms of the plays, you've talked to Luai. I would probably say that I'm not as big of a fan of Jerome Luai. I just think there's a Penrith team. Whole heap of risk. I mean, I can speak to my bet later, but I'm taking Canberra's line in this one. And then I think almost definitely Penrith rest players, and Jerome Luai is going to be one of those players that's rested in the last 2 games of the season. So I think he doesn't have a massive one this game, and then probably doesn't have a massive one, or probably doesn't play, in one of the last 2 games as well. So I think there's more downside than upside with a play like Jerome Luai. Dylan Edwards, another one that's, I think, in a similar boat to Luai, you've got a lot of risk in. him not playing, I'd rather someone like a Ponga if you can, over Dylan Edwards. I'm just trying to see if there's any Raiders boys that people would be considering. Tarpany still a little bit traded in. Isaiah Yo, do any of these names sort of, Brian Toto, do any of those sort of names interest you as trade-ins?
None of them really, just because of the restings again. But in saying that as well, Toto, I saw the other day with Cleary out, averages like 20 points less, like a big difference, like averages around 50 without Cleary. So for people looking at him as a high upside centre wing, I would be more cautious now that Cleary's out.
Yeah. Makes perfect sense. Yeah, I mean, someone like a Tarpany is going to be solid, but you don't need to be looking for that trade. It's definitely not a trade that sets you out from other players at this point of the season. So yeah, not a massive fan of some of these Panthers boys. I'd probably be targeting, for mine, generally targeting players in teams that are around that 8th position. So like a Dolphins player, a Dragons player, even a Knights player, someone like that, that there's a lot of incentive for them to win games because they could still they're still pushing for the 8. They're not locked into the 8. That's probably ideally the type of player you want to be targeting, but then also you don't want to just bring in some random flop as well. So there's things to consider there. Let's talk bets in this one. What do you have yourself in this one, Hart?
Yep. So the way I see it, I think the Panthers will get this done. I'm going to take a line of Panthers negative 19.5 with Bizza anytime. Look, I know this is in Canberra. I know that Cleary is out, but I think the Panthers will want to make a statement to prove they don't need Cleary, and I think they're going to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I disagree with you there. The Panthers have made statements that they don't need Cleary. They don't need to make a statement. This is a Panthers team with a run home for the finals. They don't need to be putting cricket scores on teams. They just need to be winning games. And yeah, obviously no Nathan Cleary, a Raiders team off a loss, a Raiders team that can still make the finals. So high motivation edge for the Raiders in this one. Yeah, I mean, the Raiders could come out and chop them and possibly win in Canberra. I think that's unlikely. So I'm happy to take them at a plus 9.5 in this game. Yeah, if you're going to give me that good of a line at $1.97 or whatever it is, I'll happily snap that one up. Any thoughts on this game, Pete?
Nothing from me on this game bets wise. I just think it's a hard one to read for all the reasons you said. But then part of me can also see Panthers just turning it on. Like, I can see the game going either way, so I'm happy just to sit out.
Yeah, fair enough. The next game of the round is the Storm versus the Dolphins. Yeah, plenty of talk around the Storm restings. That I think it was, who was it that came out about the Storm resting players? Do you know?
Oh, that was Brandon Smith himself on the Buy Round podcast with James Graham.
How did he hear that?
What is
talking with Harry Grant apparently, and then Cheese decided to have a go at his old team. So whether that's true or not, I'm not sure, because you got to take everything that guy says with a grain of salt. But
surely they're not going to rest players at round 25. Like, there's 2 more weeks. Surely they're not going to start doing it now.
No, he's saying for next week, round 26. Apparently, the news was from Cheese that apparently they're going to go up to. They're not going to take all their players up to North Queensland for that game. They're going to rest them for that game and then have the first game as a bit of a tune-up. Sorry, as the last game of the season, as a bit of a tune-up for finals.
I get that.
Yeah,
that.
That's the reasoning I saw as well. But also they were talking about the flying time and all that, and the trip to Townsville being quite the journey. So to rest the players for that reason as well.
Yeah. But like, obviously these are just rumors. If it's a situation where the Storm lose this week, unlikely. But if it is, then you'd think they'd probably play the players to try and to shore up the minor premiership. But regardless, there's going to be that risk. So how do you feel about obviously one of the higher traded in options for Cleary being Jerome Hughes. How do you feel about trading Jerome Hughes at this point in the season?
Personally, I think there's much better options with him. Storm are going to be resting players, and Jerome's been one of those guys who's really had to carry the Storm through the bye rounds like he always does. So if anyone's going to rest, it'll be him.
Yeah.
They've got people like Wishart who can take over his position pretty comfortably. And with Munster and all that being back as well, Hughes' average has gone down quite a bit the last few weeks, so I wouldn't be looking to get him in.
Yeah, yeah. Is there anyone from the Storm? I can see a few people trading Grant, Munster, Eli Katoa, any of those guys you'd be thinking about at all?
Not for me with these potential restings.
Yep. Yeah, no, fair. I'm with you 100%. Already spoken to it, but yeah, not worth the risk. I've got to start thinking about next week what I'm going to do, because obviously the Tigers have to buy. My hookers are Grant and Appy. It might be a situation where I'm probably trading out Appy to get someone to play. I think I could be seriously. If it ends up that the Storm rest all their players, I've got Hughes, Grant, at least. And then if the Roosters rest their players, I've got Teddy, Dom Young, and then I've got Samuel Afinu and Appy on a bye as well. Could be seriously short for numbers next week, but yeah, we'll see how that ends up. What's your sort of planning if all that were to happen?
If that was all to happen, I'd probably just set my team at the start of the week and then not log into Supercoach till the end of the round, because there's not much you can do, can you?
Yeah. It'll be tough if all those restings occur, but either way, I wouldn't be trading towards those style of players. Anyone from the Dolphins that interests you at all? Maxi Plath hit 710K now, which is pretty crazy. There was a point in the season I had Max Plath and what's his name, Galvin, in both of my sixes, and then they both got banned for 2 weeks at the same time. And so I've been off Max Plath ever since. But yeah, he would have been a good trade in. Would he still be a good trade in, do you think, at this point of the season?
I think he would be, because Dolphins are going to have to show up every week.
Yeah.
And at a minimum plus basing like 50, 60 with a bit of upside. In saying that though, is he worth 700K? Probably not. But if you've got the funds and it's a position you need to look after, there's a lot worse options.
Yeah, for sure. I think price, hopefully for most people, is going to be less relevant at this point of the season. Maybe like I have, because I'm trading Cleary to DC, I think I'll have like several hundred at least in the bank. So if I was to go someone like a Max Plath, I could from a 500K guy, and it's like maybe he's not worth 700K, but you could still make that move. For mine, I'm not doing it this week, but yeah, I think price is a little bit less of a factor. He's probably overs in terms of price, but it's not something you have to think about as much.
Definitely.
Let's jump into betting in this one. I'll let the heart take it away with what he likes in this one and why he likes it.
Yeah, look, the way I see it, I think the Storm will win, but I think the Finns will have some fight in them. So I'm just going to go for a pretty basic bet here, where it's Storm, Paps to score, Warbrick to score, and Jack Bostock to score at $6. Need I say more?
No need to say more, mate. It's not that basic, still 4-leg bet, but
pretty basic.
I would have thought you got more value off that, because I was toying up a bet for this game with Storm to win and Bostock to score, just because Storm do have a tendency to let the left winger stroll over very easily. But in saying that, the value wasn't too great, so I left it.
Yeah, I think it's because Bostock has scored fairly consistently. So even if his team is $4.95 to win, I think still him independently scoring is probably going to be higher, given that Dolphins score a lot of points.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for. Being on the underdog team, you'd be a bit more value, but makes sense from the bookies.
Yeah, they know what they're doing.
Pretty good at it. For myself, I got the Dolphins plus 14.5. You get that on Bet365 at $1.91. It was my best bet of the round. I've already spoken to it a little bit. But yeah, it's a Dolphins team off some tough losses and sitting in ninth. So any sort of team around that position is a team I want to target. It's a Storm team off a win. They don't even need to keep winning. Sorry, they don't even need to win this game necessarily to win the minor premiership. So on top of the Dolphins plus 1.5, a little tickle on the Dolphins head to head could be a decent bet as well. Not a best bet of the round, but it's not a crazy thought that the Dolphins might get home in this one. So a little tickle on the Dolphins head to head might be worth it. We'll see come game day. I might have something on the Dolphins head to head as well. Next game of the round, game of the round, the Rabbitohs versus the Knights. Don't need to say much more. Knights win 13 plus. Yeah,
Easy. 13 plus Ponga scores. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, no, but Supercoach wise, this is a sort of point of the round where you've got to sort of make some decisions around captaincy choices. For yourself, would it be a Ponga that you look to, or someone like a Tedesco, or where are you looking in this one, Fee?
I think the way they've been playing, the way fullbacks have been scoring the last few weeks, the captaincy for me will definitely be on one of Teddy and Ponga, or Turbo if I owned him. But in saying that, I'll probably see later in the week how the round's going and all that. At the moment, I'm thinking that'll be quite a high-scoring game. So I am leaning Ponga because he's got the goal kicking. And it seems like at the moment, like he's getting minimum 70, not doing much. So I can see a big explosion coming.
Yep. No, I'm with you 100%. I think for mine, I'm really, really 50-50. The only thing with Teddy is just he's I'll look up his scores now, but he's just every single week just pulls out insane scores. So like I could still end up going Tedesco, but I understand 100% the appeal with Ponga. Just looking at Tedesco now, he's hit just about 900k, but 125 at 52 and 126, like 149, 116, he's just 84, 98, just pumps out massive scores for fun. Tedesco. So I think, genuinely a very tough choice. In terms of trade-ins, I don't know, Damien Cook had a massive score on the weekend. Would you be looking at him? He's hit over 700k now.
He's been good lately, but in saying that, I just still don't trust the Rabbitohs. Like last week, they lost to the Tigers, who were quite weak in the middle, so he did get a few line breaks and all that kind of thing, which helped boost his score. But in the hooker position, if I was going to go for someone, I'd probably look more for a Jacob Little kind of thing, who's been proven to be one of the underrated players of the season.
Yep.
Dragons have a lot to play for compared to the Rabbitohs. And mind you, Cook's not even going to be at the Rabbits next season, so they may give him even less minutes over the coming weeks as they look to blood the future.
Yeah. No, everything you're saying there makes sense. It sort of echoes the sentiments that we've said already. You want to be targeting those players that are in those teams around the 8, I think, at this point of the season. And Cookie's not the one for mine. No one else really majorly traded in this one, so probably safe to jump straight into bets. Before we do that, I know a lot of people would own like someone like a Marzu. Would you be playing Marzu in a game like this, in a game week like this?
I'm actually forced to play Marju this week more because currently my centre wing is Karaz, Domi Young, Garrick, who are all locked in 3 of the spots.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, my usual 4th centre wing, Val Holmes, has the bye, so it's between Marju or McLean for that 4th spot, and I just think the upside with the Knights outweighs Panthers this week without a Cleary. So Marju's currently locked in. Rabbitohs seem to be conceding a lot down the edges as well. Like last week, Tigers scored on both. So I would play Marju this week.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in the exact same boat as you. Val Holmes not playing, so I'll be forced to play Marzu or Tungo. And Tungo has been scoring well recently, but it's just because he's been scoring tries. So I'm much happy to go someone like a Greggy Marzu over Tungo for this week. That's probably where I'm going to end up going for this game week. But let's talk betting. Yeah, yeah. If you watch the pod, I never really bet on Knights games because I think
We're not
subconscious.
very good, are we?
So well, it's more just subconscious bias comes in either way. You either think if you think we're bad, you think we're often way worse than we are. If you think we're good, you often think we're way better than we are.
Yeah.
But in saying that, the best bet of the round for the heart, take it away.
Yeah, so as previously stated, Knights 13 plus with Ponga anytime try scorer. Ponga, in my opinion, is very, very due for a try, and I think we've given up on the season, so we should win by 13.
Yeah, makes perfect sense to
It
me.
doesn't. That's how this works, mate. That's how it all works.
Do you have any thoughts on this game as a unbiased fan, Feet?
I don't think that your bloke season's necessarily over. So I think they'll show up because they're still trying to push for the 8. And yeah, just seeing Rabbitohs last week, the performance they dished out, you can tell they're definitely checked out now. So Knights have a lot to play for still, in my opinion. So I can see Ponga putting the team on his back as he always seems to.
Yeah, yeah. Big game from Ponga coming, hopefully.
Yeah, sure.
The next game of the round has some serious Supercoach implications as well. The Titans versus the Roosters. Titans games generally been higher scoring this season. So if you're if you're an owner of Roosters players, hopefully that has positive implications for your team. Yeah, we've already started to speak to it, but James Tedesco obviously is going to be a great captain option, still a strong trade-in option, but there's obviously fears that they'll be rested this week. If you have a fullback trade available and you want to trade a fullback this week, what would you be doing with it, Feet?
If I already owned any of Tedesco, Ponga, and Turbo, I'd probably not make a trade. But if I owned any other fullbacks, I'd be looking to get two out of those three in my side. I think you need Teddy, Ponga, Turbo, however you see it and who you can afford, kind of thing. Personally, I'm on Teddy Ponga. Just I went that way because I've had Tedesco for a lot of the season, and I went Ponga just because he was cheaper than Turbo and had better fixtures. Look, it depends. I think if you're going to go Turbo, it has to be this week because of the captaincy and everything, and he's got a lot to play for. But Tedesco probably scares me the most over the coming week. So if I didn't have one, I think I'd lean Teddy. But again, it's a roll of the dice.
Yeah, I think Teddy probably has the highest upside and downside in that I think if he plays all 3 games, he probably scores the most points across the 3. But there's that risk he doesn't play next week, and I think both of the other 2 will play the next 3 weeks. So
Yeah.
the trade-off there. And then yeah, I guess in terms of fullback options, I don't. Yeah, those are the 3 that you should be targeting if you can.
Yeah, the only one that's come to my mind would be Dylan Edwards. But again, he's just come back from injury.
Yeah.
He's still a chance of being rested again. So that would be for the Brave. But yeah, I'd stick to the 3 main guns at the minute.
Yeah, yeah. And I think probably if I had to make like a reasonably conservative trade or like if I had to pick a 2, it's probably I generally lean on the safer side of things in terms of Supercoach, so it would be Turbo and Ponga, but definitely Ponga in there regardless. So that's my thoughts. But yeah, one of the higher traded in players this week is Sammy Walker. 2.3% of teams trading him in. Have you thought about Sammy Walker as a potential replacement for Cleary?
So I actually went quite aggressive last week, and I actually sold Jerome Hughes to Sam Walker for last week's match. So quite disappointing considering Jerome's still playing. Cleary's now injured, and I've already got Sam Walker, but I brought Walker in for last week's matchup. He only got 52, but the way he seems to bully those teams, Roosters have a lot to play for, trying to lock in top 4, and I think they're really trying to go for it at the minute to hit form at the right time. So I do like Walker as a trade-in still.
Yeah, I think Walker could go massive, but it's the exact same factor. He's rested next week. He's not the play. I genuinely, when I first saw Cleary out, my first thought was it basically has to be Walker with the fixtures that they have. But with the risk that he's not going to play, I think I think DCE is where you have to look. A fair few people went Joey Manu recently. People still jumping on Dom Young, James Tedesco. Any of these, Angus Crichton, any of these names sort of scream out to you that someone you want to jump on?
Well, I currently own Dommy Young, Crichton. Manu, I don't.
Yeah.
Manu, personally, I'm cold on. His average with Radley inside him is actually noticeably less. And I think just coming back from injury, he's looking just to build into his work and be ready to rip in come finals.
Yeah.
As for Crichton, I know we touched on him earlier in the potty, and he seems to have lost his try-scoring touch. But in saying that, I think he's due. So I do like Crichton as a trade-in. And then Dommy Young, I don't think Roosters will rest players, to be honest, because when I look at the ladder, they're not quite locked in the top 4 yet. So I would personally like to take a flyer on Dom Young if I didn't own him, because I think he's the kind of guy who can lose you head-to-head.
Yeah. Honestly, I probably lean to agreeing with you that they don't rest players, but just the fact that there's a rumor that they will rest players, I don't see the value in trading them in this week when you can just wait a week and see, hold the trade, wait a week, see what's going to happen. Obviously, that could lose you your head-to-head, but I think you're definitely going to lose your next week's final if you're making these sort of trades where you're trading in Roosters players, etc., Storm players that could just all end up being rested for next week. So I don't see if you're a head-to-head player, I don't really see the value in making a trade for any of these Roosters players for this week anyway. So Titans players, I mean, the only one that people may be thinking trading in Dave Fafita, it's fine. He's not gonna get rested. So any thoughts on Dave Fafita?
I think playing with Jaden Campbell hasn't freed up Fafita as much. So to be honest, I think a lot of teams do own him. So he's probably a good one to actually anti-pod and go somewhere else with a position that's more upside.
Yeah. I've owned him, and he's just like I picked him up during that Origin period where he wasn't playing. I was like, fuck, this is the best trade ever. Doesn't cost anything, and he's going to play all through this Origin period, and he's been pretty fucking underwhelming. So, I don't think you need to go Dave Fafita. Unless you really need to shore up your second row, but Dave Fafita is not one you need to look at, I don't think. Let's talk betting in this game. You boys are both on the Roosters in some way, shape, or form, but I'll let the feet jump into it first and why he likes the Roosters.
Yeah, so I've just gone Roosters on this one. I think they want to win to try and lock in that top 4 and then potentially have restings and everything while trying to hit form at the right time. So Roosters to win. I haven't put a margin in or anything just because of the way Titans have been the last few weeks. They could easily show up and keep it tight, but then when you see them concede 40-plus points to the Sharks, it could go either way. So happy to just go Roosters, and then I've kept it pretty simple. Dommy Young, don't need to say much else, and then Khan Pereira. They do tend to leak, despite how many tries they do score those two, they do tend to leak down those edges, so hopefully they let each other in.
Yep, sounds good to me. What do you have in this one, Hart?
Yeah, look, I kind of see the same situation, but after what the Sharks put 48 on them or something like that, I think we see a similar score here from the Roosters. So I've taken the Roosters at a line of negative 29.5 with Young and Tupou to score at 7.25.
Just a safe 29.5.
Easy bet.
Like
knowing my luck, this will get up and then somehow Dom Young or Tupou will go off within 5 minutes or something.
Yeah, you always have these bets with crazy lines, and then the actual odds of the bet is just not crazy. 7.25.
I mean, half of them hit, but then I've got random ass try scores that never go up, go over.
Yeah.
You win some, lose some.
My bet for this one, I managed to find the Titans over 17.5 total points. You can get that at $1.75. So pretty low odds as compared to some of my other bets, and obviously some of the other bets in this pod. But yeah, very key line of 17.5 total points. A lot of other bookies will have that around $1.60. So pretty happy to get it over 17.5 at $1.75. Why I like the Titans over 17.5. In this one, you look back through some of these Roosters fixtures, they're winning games, they're still conceding a lot of points. Obviously, they conceded 34 points to the Dolphins the other week, 30 points to the Seagulls. Yeah, they're still conceding a lot of points to teams when they're winning games. Yeah, even 14 points to the Eels last week as well, in a game they dominated. So a Titans team off a couple of losses. I think obviously they're a very strong attacking team, even though they haven't produced many points in the last couple of weeks. I think hopefully their focus will go back to their attack and they'll get over that 17.5 total point line against a Roosters team that obviously concedes a few. Yeah, it'd be crazy if both our bets got up in this one. A head and a heart bet, like a Roosters 50-18 or something.
That'd be such an awesome game to watch.
Yeah. Let's jump into the last game of the round, the Dragons versus the Sharks. Game that should probably have a fair bit of Supercoach implication because both of these teams are fighting for positions in the 8. Obviously, the Sharks are locked into the 8, but they're fighting to keep that top 4 spot, and then the Dragons are coming exactly 8th. So a lot to play for them as well. A bloke that was highly traded in last week, I think he will be highly traded in this week. Zachy Lomax, any interest from yourself, Pete?
I quite like the trade in. I just think he's been unreal this season. Dragons have a lot to play for, and I do think he'll want to go out on a high at the club. So it's hard to fault the trade, if I'm honest. Like, Dragons have so much to play for. It's a home game, derby. You could think it could be a tightish game being a derby and all that, but if you're looking to trade in someone who's got that upside that can win you a matchup, Lomax is probably the best trade in this week.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Cleary doesn't go down. I'd probably trade him in this week, so that's a little annoying, but what can you do? Yeah, and he's not going to get rested in any games. They need to make the 8. All the upside is there with Zach Lomax. Don't really need to speak to it much more. Another bloke that you've already spoken to, Jacob Little. Would you be jumping towards him at this point of the season?
I really like the Little trade in. Like, you look at his score since the bye round, and it's been pretty phenomenal. You can see Flano trust him playing in those big minutes. And again, Dragons have a lot to play for. So maybe this week you don't need a hooker trade, but as we've alluded to, Grant could be out next week, Appy's out, and then you're running no one. So if you wanted to get a hooker early, Little's probably the play.
Yeah, I'm with you there. If I knew for a fact they're both going to be out next week, I might jump on. I might have jumped on Little this week because he does have a 46 break in, which he probably goes pretty decently over considering some of his recent scores. And I'm not sure exactly how much I have in the bank if I can make Appy work. To Little, I think I should still be able to because I have at least a couple 100K sitting there. But yeah, definitely can't knock jumping on Little this week. Probably a decent chance that he's one that I jump on next week, which will be a really boring use of my last trade, but it might be what I have to do with some of the buys and restings that are meant to occur for next week. Outside of that, Benny Hunt interest you at all as a little smoky option for a Cleary replacement?
Look, I like him to score this week, but not for me. I just think he lacks. When you want those trades again, you want people who can go massive upside, 120 plus kind of thing. And for Ben Hunt to have that, you'd have to be kicking goals or something. So all those other halfbacks we've mentioned earlier, I'd be going for them over Ben Hunt.
Yeah. So in terms of plays, would you be considering maybe just not even trading Cleary out at this point, and if you didn't have many trades, just holding someone like a Cleary and trying to focus on bringing in someone like a Zach Lomax?
That's a great question. And the one I'm weighing up for my side, I think I'm probably going to get more benefit by trading out a non-player next week or like someone who's injured or something in another position like Lomax who has that upside. Meanwhile, in halfback, yes, DC could hurt me this week, but there's restings there potentially, all that kind of stuff. So I feel like going a trade away from halfback could be the way to go, but yeah, tough one.
Yeah, very, very tough one. Yeah, I'm still going to be tossing up. I think whether it does end up, whether I go DCE, probably have to look at sort of how final teams end up in terms of my head-to-head matchup. Yeah, very, very tough decision, I think, where people end up with that one. Anything else to add in this one, Supercoach wise? I don't see any massive slam dunk trade-ins. Maybe
No, nothing for me. I feel like Sharks, it's only ever Nico Hines,
yeah,
and he hasn't been around for a while, so their backs aren't getting the ball like they sometimes do, which makes them relevant. And then, yeah, Dragons all season, it's only ever really been Lomax, but
yeah,
with the hooking options, potentially little just with next week's problems.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Let's talk betting in this one. You're on Benny Hunt. Why do you like Benny Hunt outside of him being due?
Again, due, but I just think Dragons will be up for this. It's a derby. Over the years, Sharks have tended to dominate it, I feel like, just being the superior side. But with Flanagan back, you know he's going to have him up being his former side. And Trindle's playing as well, I believe. So I don't think Sharks have been going as well with Trindle. So I feel like Ben Hunt, there will be a lot of attention on some of those other players like Lomax and all that. So I can just see him going himself.
Yeah, yeah. I think Sharks' record with Trindle without Trindle is way better this season. So
Yeah.
yeah, I can see that, and that might speak to the Hearts bet for this round. What do you have in this one?
Yeah, look, I'm a Knights fan. You're a Knights fan. The footy gods work in spiteful ways. So I think the Knights win considerably on Saturday, only to be eliminated from the finals on Sunday by the Dragons winning. So I'm taking the Dragons head to head.
Yeah, good stuff. I thought you were going to say something about, the Sharks don't play as well with Trindle or like that. Just the footy gods say
I'm the
that.
heart, mate. I'm not the head, I'm the heart.
For myself, I've got either team 1 to 10. You can get that on Neds or Ladbrokes at $1.98. Yeah, sort of what's already been spoken to. I expect this to be a close one. It's a derby. Both teams have heaps to play for. Sharks trying to lock in the top 4, Dragons trying to lock in the top 8. Both teams that may not have as high attacking output. Obviously, Sharks without Nico, and the Dragons just generally don't have the highest attacking output. So I think this one could be a bit of a grind, and I think an either team 1 to 10 result reflects that. That probably wraps us up for another week, boys. Pleasure having you on feed, and good luck in your matchup. I think Mickey might be watching this one, so hopefully we haven't hurt your chances too much in your matchup this week. Anything else to add from either of you boys before we wrap this one up?
Thanks for
Nothing
coming.
else from me, but thanks for having me on, guys. It's been good fun chatting footy and everything. So hopefully a good round for all of us.
Yeah, that's it. Big round on the pun and big round in Supercoach. Hopefully we're playing each other in the final. That'll be sick.
We'll have to do a special potty for that one.
Yeah.
Both.
Head v head. No.
Thanks, boys. We'll go fuck ourselves.